Hello, everybody. How are we doing? It's middle of the week for me, Wednesday. Hope you're doing well wherever you are around the world. Say hello and also tell me where you are joining from. And also, thanks for being here. I appreciate your time. I wanted to talk about sustainability and how corporate responsibility or social responsibility really sits under the sustainability banner, and really what the difference is between the two, because there are times when people are getting mixed up with the terms corporate sustainability or corporate social responsibility. And so essentially sustainability is the umbrella statement, right? It's the entire concept of considering four areas of capital that are most important for ultimately improving our well-being, livability, the harmony that exists between us, the natural biodiversity, and also us within social systems and as individuals. So it's about environmental capital, economic capital, human capital, and social capital. And that's what sustainability covers. There are essentially four pillars within the sustainability banner or concept. And when a business is talking about corporate sustainability, they're really trying to address all four. They're looking at ways of embedding frameworks of thinking, strategic governance, so that their business can ensure that it's reducing the material impacts that they're having across these four areas, and really putting in some structure into the things that they say that they're going to do, and how they're going to do it, really showing how they're going to do it. And of course, if they're really progressive in this space, and they are also being audited externally and reporting with transparency and clarity about how they're going along this journey and what they intend to do to continue improving, essentially. So corporate social responsibility is a subset. It's really looking at the social capital part, well, social and human, really, because corporate social responsibility is, excuse me, it's about the social impact through individuals and social groups or systems like communities, and understanding what each of these stakeholder groups really are feeling impacted by the business's operations, but also further extending from these social groups that are directly impacted by business operations. It's also to look at the broader community and how the business can, despite them having a direct or indirect impact on these communities, how can they still have a positive contribution to these communities by, say, even a company that, I don't know, manufactures or upholsters sofas, although there's no connection to a cacao plantation in another part of the world, they might still want to contribute some positive value to that cacao foundation and or plantation, and support the communities that are surrounding that space. And this is what corporate social responsibility is about. It's not just about these direct and indirect impacts that a business has on social and human systems, but beyond that, what more can they do to create some structure and alignment with the support that they put out to communities and people around their business and beyond their business, and of course also within their business. So part of it as well is to look at sort of HR and human value systems that are in their business, and making sure that they're listening to their employees and improving their growth and their development journey and their progress, as they sort of sit within the business and grow within the business and align and hopefully stay within the business, because more and more people are saying that they want to work for a company that is value aligned, that is listening to its employees, that is connected to the community, that is more socially and sustainably responsible. So more and more people want to work for a business that is in their eyes, ethical and doing the right thing. So that's really kind of the difference between corporate and social responsibility. And what we're seeing, I mean, in Australia, we've had this for a while now, and probably in many parts of the world, we've had Modern Slavery Act in place, which is, and obviously each country might call it something different, but essentially it's a policy system in place to make sure that nowhere in your supply chain is there an impact on vulnerable communities. And, well, actually, it doesn't go as far as to talk about broader impact on vulnerable communities, but it definitely talks about slavery within your supply chain and ensuring that we completely remove that, obliterate that from your supply chain and your operations, so that no part of the product or service life cycle is leaning on slavery and slavery derived sort of actions. And that's sort of where we started with this, this sort of social impact consideration, and how we're looking at the way that our businesses are contributing to these sorts of really devastating ideas. And so it's expanded now from that to also be about diversity and inclusion within the business and well-being for employees. So, diversity about, having equality, whether that's gender equality, race equality, diversity and inclusion. I sort of tend to tie the two things together, but diversity is really about not differentiating people based on their race or sex or looks or financial backing, whatever it is, right? It's about making sure that we are not isolating people because of these sort of factors that we think are important, and including everybody in the journey of your business and growing your business and being open to new sorts of people coming through your business. So diversity and inclusion is now kind of really well entrenched in most businesses and most of the policies. And now this social sustainability or social responsibility concept is even beyond that, because it's looking at the well-being of people in your business, the well-being of communities and people around your business, listening to people by, having these sort of focus group discussions and understanding how does a individual, how does a group of people, how does a community perceive your business. And not only how do they perceive your business, but what do they feel your business is really doing well or not so well, and considering those material outcomes or material impacts and thinking about how they can start to change things. It sort of covers corporate social responsibility, sort of tends to cover things like doing the right thing, like philanthropy, but also looking at operational improvements and also looking at business model transformations. And it's really becoming about people, and so individuals and social systems or people systems, to not only look at their well-being and their human rights are being obviously met and that there's no injustice, but also how can it then bring value and benefit to them and the business. So there is that correlation as well with business value and economic growth. So it's a really great space that is kind of really expanding. Many of the bigger businesses especially have had a CSR policy in place probably for a while now, and now businesses are starting to look at this in a more broader and holistic perspective, because they realize that kind of a CSR policy is not enough on its own. You need to be also looking at the connected impacts from environmental change or environmental impacts, economic impacts, and the way that, essentially what I'm trying to say is, when we're looking at social and human systems, it isn't just enough to look at them on their own, even though they are complex in itself. It's important to consider environmental impacts and climate change. It's important to consider the business economic growth and impact on the communities around them through that growth, through their supply chain, and also to look at I've lost my train of thought. We talked about natural capital, talked about economic capital, and there's environmental and social. So I've just gone and lost my train of thought, but it is to look at all four pillars of sustainability together, and how the economic growth of a business, the environmental impact of a business's operations, all of that really comes into play when we're looking at social responsibility. So it is really it is expanding space. It's one that is getting addressed much more frequently and being looked at with clear structure rather than just saying we're donating some money, as a bonus towards the end of the year or several times in the year to the not-for-profit charity down the road. It's much more than that now. It is a kind of a structured, strategic direction for businesses, and it's also about integrating new systems with business operations to improve the stakeholder well-being and freedom of rights and justice in directly through business operations as well as indirectly through business operations and beyond that. So even if their business has nothing to do with these social and human systems, there is an opportunity for businesses to do something right by broader communities and support them in being a part of this new economy where it isn't just about business growth, it isn't just about gross, development and revenue. It is also about the well-being, the regeneration of our natural resources, and the distribution of wealth across the economy so that everybody has access to this wealth and it's not just sort of isolated to certain businesses, certain economies, and certain people. So it's it's a really interesting space. If you have any questions or thoughts about this, feel free to share. I'd love to hear that, and I hope you have an incredible day. Take care of yourselves, and I look forward to speaking with you all next week. And also, if there's any particular topics that you find interesting, you'd like me to discuss or explore, do let me know. I'll be more than happy to consider that in my next webinar chat. Thanks, everyone. Bye.